Hello everybody, it's Enlusion here, and in this video we are going to walk through my Ember project, a track which has just been released via JOOF recordings. So let's get that started. We're starting from this sample. This is how I started the project actually, with this sample. So it's kind of kick, some toms, some clap and hat sample. And that was the basement of the project. And then afterwards I decided that it's not enough to have just this kick, and I added one more. Very simple sample, but I made it very short because we already have this kick, and it's kinda longer. So I added this one to make it cutting through the mix more. As you can see, yeah, like I mentioned, it's shorter. I've removed almost all lows from here. It only starts playing from 125 Hz. And then a bit of saturation and EQ as well, just to make it more compact. And overall together it sounds like this. If I remove this one, the difference is there. Okay, so this was the basement. Yeah, in the beginning you can see that I made it more interesting, just for the progression sake. So in the beginning it's kind of looped, and then it keeps progressing. So I just removed the clap basically. And there you can see that there's a bit of automation on the low frequencies of the kick. Yeah, and also some automations from auto filter, where I filtered the kick a bit in the breakdown part, for example. Yeah, so it sounds like this. Quite simple, I would say. Then the bass is even more simple, I would say, but not quite. So the sample itself is just audio sample. So originally sounds like this. So just sidechain and even more sidechain from the LFO tool. Nothing really complex, I would say. But then I've also EQ'd it and added some compression to make it more groovy and standing out in the mix. And yeah, so that's about it. As you can see, there is one more track here, but in the end I have actually removed it. It sounds like this. So kinda even more toms. In the end I decided to just remove this sample from the project to make it disabled, because it didn't quite work at all in the mix, especially just added some dirtiness to the mix. So I just disabled it. So far it sounds like this. Very simple, but it's working. Then we have percussions. And you can see that there are many of them. And actually in this track I used JOOF, the swing called Notator 16B, and I highly recommend you to use it in all your tracks. For example, this sample, basically all the sounds are manipulated by this groove. So you can see that some of the sounds are kind of off grid, but that is exactly how it works. So in this case there is no automation, just a simple sample. You can see that it's panned to the left, 10 left, and also some house effect. And I added a bit more volume. Don't even ask me why I added it via utility and not here. It's just because I wanted this exact sound in the sample to be louder. It's some kind of clap, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that little clap, I made it louder like this, so it's automated throughout the track all the way. And that's exactly how I decided that I have to use utility to just make this track louder. Okay, there's a bit of sidechain, like in almost every track of mine I use a lot of sidechain. Because how else can I make a track groovy? No other way. Okay, next, some head. It's quite dirty and I made it only 34% in stereo, so it's more in mono, just for the mix down purpose. Then some shakers. Really simple shaker with some house effect. And then, what is this? Yeah, it's some percussion for the groove as well. And here you can see that I've only used a part of the sample. And originally it sounds, if I just remove all the automation, it sounds like this. So I removed all the parts which were not needed, in my opinion. So I've only used this one, this short one. And then some more loops, but I think I removed this one. Yes, it's disabled. Yeah, it just didn't make any sense in the mix, so I removed it. Then some more groove. Some really random percussion sounds, but they worked in the mix, so I just remained them in this project. Have I removed this one to make it more interesting, this part? Yeah. Okay, then some tribal percussions, I think. Yeah, here you can hear that I've only used this sample, half of it, and this part as well. And originally, if I just remove all the automations, it sounds like this. And I didn't need so many percussions, so I've only used the part which will fill in the gap, I would say. Then, yeah, these are some of the tribal percussions. So I kinda used only part of them, but this time I just cut the sample actually. Yeah. And then, what else? And this short sample for the percussions, I think it's heads. Yeah. I used these for the transition purposes. If you can hear it like this. Okay, not the best part, maybe here. Yeah. Okay, next. What we have next? Next we have the atmospheres. And this part, I actually love doing it. So our track is in B minor key, and hence I had to pitch up or pitch down all these atmospheric soundscapes to make it fit in the track and fit in the key of the track. You can see that I use these fade in, fade outs a lot of them, to be honest. So to be honest, I cannot see how else you can do it. So you can see that originally this atmosphere is in A and this is in G. So I just made this fade in, fade out, pitch this one down a bit, pitch this one up, and together it sounds like this. Works amazing, I would say. And I highly recommend using this plugin for the reverb, Solaris. It's free of charge and it's incredible. I use it on every single track and use it a lot. Then, actually this was the first more or less melodic theme which I added to the project. It was this vocal sample, at least it's kind of vocal. And yeah, this part is filtered. Let me bring the filter up. Yeah, for example here. It's very simple, and originally it's actually in different key as well, so I pitched it down 5 semitones down. Originally it sounds like this. One part. It sounds really weird for me after working on the project, so I'll just bring it back. And together with atmospheres it sounds like this. Yeah, and actually the melody in this track is based on this vocal sample. Yeah, so what I did, I just right click on this sample and I converted the melody to a new MIDI track, and in that result, or in that audio sample or MIDI, yeah, it was MIDI basically, I heard a very early version of this melody, and I kind of moved the notes here and there and managed to get this one. It's very simple, but as soon as I added it to the project, my team at JOOF just loved it and told me that okay, that's more than enough and you can just finish the track with it. I was quite surprised, and I think added a bit more progression to this melody. Let me just check. No, there is no progression. I think, I have just deleted it from the project. Yeah, it's not here at all. Yeah, but this was more than enough. And let's just try to play this vocal sample and the melody together. Yeah, you can hear that the accents of this vocal sample and these notes are playing at the same time. That's the way it goes. And how I created it. Yeah, and this melody, it's from one of the synths of Analog Club V, which I absolutely love. I used quite a lot of automations, like I always do. Yeah, so It's really simple. I would say the best things are simple, always. Then, actually there was a second layer of this melody, but the team at JOOF just told me, please remove it. And I was like, okay. Yeah. So this one did not survive, so I've only left this melody, this let's say layer of the melody. Yeah, and if you take a look at the MIDI, it's so simple. I mean, you cannot make anything more simpler, I think, especially in this part. Then there are some effects. This part I don't think is really interesting. Some winds, effects, crashes, uplifters, quite generic, I would say. And then there was one more layer here, which I also removed. And to be honest, I do not agree with this, but I was like, okay, if you guys at JOOF want me to remove it, I will remove it. Okay, but originally it was this Moog bass in the breakdowns, which I loved and I still do, but it did not survive. Yeah, but this didn't survive, so we have a track without it. Had I released it on Forescape, I would definitely leave it here. Yeah, but then that's more or less it for this project, but not quite. So I used a trick which I think heard many years ago from Mark Sherry, where he told me, not me, told everybody on his page about this trick where you can lower the volume in the breakdowns and then bring it back right in the drop. And this way I added some really crazy effects here on the master channel, especially via Replica XT. All these DJ effects, you can hear them like this. Yeah, this worked out very, very well. And I used it again in the second breakdown too. So that's it really for this project, nothing too complex. So together it sounds like this. So that's it for this project. Stay tuned and thank you for your time.